national reunification and on issues concerning Xinjiang, Xizang, Hong Kong, and the South China Sea. China reiterated its steadfast support to Pakistan to safeguard its sovereignty, independence, territorial integrity. China commended the comprehensive measures taken by Pakistan to combat terrorism and fully recognizes the significant contribution and huge sacrifices that Pakistan has made in combating terrorism over many years. The two sides agreed to further align their development plans and priorities and build on the upgraded version 2.0 of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is pioneer project of the Belt and Road Initiative. The two sides emphasized the importance of South Asian regional order underpinned by the United Nations Charter, the international law, and the basic norms governing international relations. They reiterated opposition to any unilateral actions and reaffirmed the significance of maintaining peace and stability in South Asia and necessity of resolving outstanding disputes through dialogue and consultations. The Pakistani side briefed the Chinese side on its position and latest developments of the situation in Jammu and Kashmir. China reiterated that Jammu and Kashmir dispute is a leftover from the history and should be properly and peacefully resolved in accordance with the UN Charter, relevant UN Security Council resolutions, and bilateral agreements. The two sides expressed readiness to conduct trans-boundary water resources cooperation under the principle of equality and mutual benefit, and emphasized that imperative of fulfilling international legal obligations. The significance of the maintenance of international and regional security and strategic stability was reiterated. The two sides expressed readiness to continue leveraging the China-Afghanistan-Pakistan trilateral foreign ministers dialogue and the China-Bangladesh-Pakistan cooperation mechanism to deliver new outcomes. The two sides agreed to keep in close consultations and communication on the Afghan issue. The two sides called on for more visible and verifiable actions to dismantle and eliminate all terrorist organizations based in Afghanistan, which continue to pose serious threats to regional peace and global security, and prevent terrorist organizations from using the Afghan territory for terrorism against any other country and to endanger any other third country. Ladies and gentlemen, this week the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Senator Mohammad Ishaq Dar continued to have a number of telephone calls with his counterparts from other countries. On 6th January, he held a telephonic conversation with Foreign Minister of Myanmar, U Than Shaw, and reviewed current and level of bilateral relation. With the Foreign Minister of Indonesia, Mr. Sugiarno, the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister reviewed the state of Pakistan-Indonesia relations, development in Somalia, and efforts for lasting peace in Gaza, and they agreed to maintain close contacts on these issues. Subsequently, with the Foreign Minister of Egypt, Badr Ahmad Mohammed Abdul Atteh, the DPM reviewed current regional situation and reaffirmed commitment to enhance bilateral cooperation in the areas of mutual interest and continue engagement on key regional issues. With Bangladesh Foreign Advisor, Mr. Tahir Hussain, the Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister reviewed bilateral relations as well as recent developments in Asia and the Middle East. With the Foreign Minister of Malaysia, Muhammad bin Haji Hassan, the Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister reviewed the state of bilateral relations and exchanged views on recent regional developments, including the situation in the Middle East, where both sides underscored the importance of continued consultations and agreed to remain in close contact. With the Foreign Minister of Turkey, Hakan Fidan, the DPM discussed the evolving regional situation and enhanced bilateral cooperation in areas such as trade, technology, tourism, and IT. And with the Foreign Minister of UAE, Mr. Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the DPM exchanged views on current regional situation and expressed satisfaction over the positive trajectory and improvement in regional situation. The DPM-FM appreciated the dialogue and diplomacy that has resulted in tangible outcomes on the ground. With Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan, the DPM twice held telephone conversations this week. He welcomed the Saudi Foreign Ministry's statement regarding Yemen and appreciated efforts of all sides to resolve the regional situation amicably. The DPM also stressed that all concerned in the region must avoid any escalatory move and advised to resolve the issues through dialogue and diplomacy for the sake of regional peace and stability. And finally, the Minister of Economy of Azerbaijan, Mikhail Jabarov, held a telephone discussion with the Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, basically on the realization of the Azerbaijan's investment of $2 billion in Pakistan. The DPM underscored the importance of high-level cooperation in areas of mutual interest, and it was agreed to finalize the mechanism in this regard, allowing Azerbaijani investment in the identified sectors of the Pakistan economy. With this, I conclude my opening remarks and open the floor for question answers. Ji, Saleh Zafar sir.
A country which is notorious for its transnational terrorism and its so-called intelligence gathering agency, which has been sponsoring terrorism across the world. Indian Minister for External Affairs has alleged that Pakistan has centers for the training of the terrorists in its urban areas. This is for the first time he said this while in a European country like Luxembourg. I wish to have your comments. What is wrong with the Indian leadership? They are talking this much nonsense. Thank you, sir.
Pakistan firmly rejects the irresponsible and misleading assertions made by the Indian External Affairs Minister. Once again, India has sought to deflect attention from its own deeply troubling record as a neighbor marked by promotion of terrorism and personal contributions to regional instability. They have instigated terrorism in the region and they have promoted regional instability, and this is the kind of statement that is to divert the attention from this record. The Indian External Affairs Minister's this statement in Luxembourg also constitute a blatant attempt to divert attention from the recently surfaced documentary evidence indicating that New Delhi sought a third country's intervention to secure a ceasefire with Pakistan during the May conflict. No amount of bluster can obscure India's fabricated narrative surrounding counter-terrorism, particularly the Pahalgam incident, or its reckless misadventure against Pakistan in the aftermath of the Pahalgam incident. New Delhi's fixation on Pakistan cannot conceal its own role as a serial disruptor of peace. India has carried out extrajudicial killings abroad, interfered in the internal political affairs of neighboring states, exported terrorism into Pakistan, including through operatives such as Kulbhushan Jadhav, and have provided safe havens to wanted criminals. For smaller states in the region, India too has been a source of coercion rather than cooperation, while minorities within its border face escalating intimidation and repression. So, before presuming to lecture others, India would do well to confront its own conduct and the growing gap between its rhetoric and reality. Thank you. Ji, sir.
Thank you, sir. This is Hussain Raza from Pakistan Television. Sir, what's the Pakistan stance regarding demolition of structures near the 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗲 mosque in Delhi and the reported damage to the mosque.
Yes, this development came to the fore this week, and we monitored it, and we noted with grave concerns the developments around 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗲 mosque. We understand that this is part of an RSS, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh's backed campaign targeting mosques under the guise of an anti-encroachment drive. We express our grave concerns on the actions of the Indian government to demolish the Waqf properties associated with the 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗲 mosque. The 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗲 Dargah, a mosque over a centuries old, stands as a very important symbol of Muslim religious, cultural and historical heritage, and continues to serve as a central place of worship and community life. So the demolition drive is not an isolated incident, rather it reflects, I should say, a very campaign by the RSS BJP nexus to target and undermine and erase the Muslim heritage across India. The destruction of Babri Mosque, you would recall, in 1992 by extremist mobs driven by fascist and majoritarian ideologies remain a stark reminder of this pattern. The subsequent judicial outcomes, which basically absolved those responsible and sanctioned the construction of a temple on the site of the demolished mosque, underscore the deeply discriminatory approach of the Indian states towards religious minorities and erosion of the rule of law where Muslim rights are concerned. So this latest episode also reflects a broad pattern of pressure on religious minorities in India and a deliberate attempt at eroding Muslim culture and religious heritage under the influence of fascist Hindutva ideology. Numerous other historic mosques now face similar threats of desecration or demolition, while Indian Muslims continue to experience growing social, economic and political marginalization. So we'll call upon the international community to take serious notice of this alarming rise in Islamophobia, hate speech and hate-motivated violence in India. The United Nations and other relevant international mechanism, human rights machinery must play a positive and proactive role and principal role in safeguarding the religious and cultural rights of the minorities. We urge the Government of India to fulfill its constitutional and international human rights obligation by guaranteeing the safety and security of all religious denominations, including Muslims, by protecting their places of worship in accordance with international law and universally recognized human rights standards.
तर्जुमान दफ्तर खारजा ताहिर हुसैन इंदराबी की इस्लामाबाद में हफ्तावार न्यूज़ ब्रीफिंग। कहा, पाकिस्तान चीन की कौमी वहादत के हुसूल के इक़दामात की हिमायत करता है। पाकिस्तान और चीन का CPEC 2.2 के तहत तरक्याती मनसूबों में आहंगी बढ़ाने पर इत्तफाक है। अफगान सरजमीन किसी भी मुल्क के खिलाफ इस्तेमाल न होने पर उन्होंने जोर दिया।